Should you hire a virtual assistant for your Amazon business? I want to do a bit of a 101 on this because I think a lot of people are at the stage where they're, maybe where I was doing way too much and I couldn't really see how to grow the business to the next stage on my own. But at the same time, I wasn't sure if the cash flow was quite there in the business. I wasn't sure if it was the right time to hire a virtual assistant. I was overwhelmed. How do I do it? How do I systemize the business? How do I create the spreadsheets and databases and stuff like that to actually give them the SOPs and the operations and stuff to actually be able to outsource it? And it's just overwhelming. I can't be bothered. That's how I felt. So let's talk about this, right? So how can you outsource your business a little bit more? Is it the right time? Is it worth it to actually hire a virtual assistant? My name's Hayden. You're watching FBA TV. Let's dive into this. So I've got a few virtual assistants at the moment. I've got a few that I share in a pool with other people, and I've got a few myself as well. I've just taken on a purchasing manager. I've got an admin VA. I've got a sourcing VA, and as I said, I'm in the pool with a few other people as well. I also have a lot of outsourced operations, like multiple. I've got a couple of prep centres and all this sort of stuff, and accountants all outsourced. So sort of under my management, we have a lot of third-party stuff going on, but obviously mainly we've got virtual assistants as well, and I have got a bit of experience, not as much as some people, but at actually training them up and actually, having them as staff, seeing the benefits they can give us. So I want to talk about that, okay? So here's how you find out if you need a virtual assistant in your business. Here's how I believe you can find out, because there's some people that it is the right time for them. There's some people that it isn't. Okay, and this isn't a thing where you can let FOMO get in the way of you making this decision. It has to be a tactical financial decision for growth only. And the virtual assistant should absolutely be paying for themselves in the work they provide the business and to you. Okay, so here's how you decide. So whatever area of business you need to specialize in to start with, i.e. outsource with a virtual assistant, it could be sourcing. So it's either going to be sourcing, depending on what model you're doing, or it's going to be admin. They generally seem to be the first ones that you outsource. So most people seem to be sourcing, but as I said, it depends what strategy you're doing. If you're doing private label or bundles or something like that, and you want to create your own products and you're the best at creating that, then maybe outsourcing the admin so you don't have to do it and you can give that admin to someone else and have more time making products is the best thing for you. But as I say, if you're doing online arbitrage or something like that, or wholesale, and you need a virtual assistant, in sort of a £10 task, what I call it, that you shouldn't be wasting your time doing, then maybe it's time for you to hire a virtual assistant for that. But here's how I would do it if I was looking for a virtual assistant again. Number one, I would figure out how much that virtual assistant was going to cost me, okay, per monthly basis. And I would pretend, when I'm doing my monthly books, I would pretend that outgoing has gone out, okay, and then see what my gross net profit is after that has gone out, okay. Can your business afford it? Do that for 3 months and you will be able to see if your business can afford it. If it's too tight, right, way too tight, then it's not the right time for you. If you haven't got the finances, you can't do it, right? But that's not to say you can't do that if you've still got a fair amount of money left in the business, but not as much. Okay, so the key here is to not leave yourself with nothing, obviously, in the business. It needs to be growing or what, not in the negative for too long. Although some businesses do grow like that. But if there's some profit left which you're happy with, but it's not as much as you would really like, then maybe it's still time to hire one. Because you've got to think here, it's not the initial upfront cost that it's going to cost you, it's how much benefit and extra value and extra income and revenue and profit that is going to bring you after 6 months to a year. This is where my mindset was always wrong in the past. I always thought that, I don't want to spend 400 quid a month on a VA. Because then I'm going to lose 400 quid a month. No. My mindset was all wrong. The fact that I lost 400 quid a month for 3 months meant that in 6 months, when the VA was trained up and the compounding had caught up with this, they were making me, say, £1,000 or £2,000 a month, for example. So you've got to give a certain amount of time for it to catch up. And this is sort of a serious thing that I'm going through at the moment in my head. For me, I'm at the stage where I actually want to start employing a UK employee. I want a proper full-time UK employee. But that's going to be a big hit on the profit in the business. But I'm well aware that, and I know in myself, and I just need to take the plunge soon, because I know that in 6 months' time, they're going to be bringing me, if they do their job properly, a lot more money than what I'm going to be paying them. because they sometimes they can do stuff that a virtual assistant can't do, and I can't explain that unless you know. But anyway, that's for another video. So you've got to be able to afford it, but also make sure that if it's not too tight, but you can afford it and you can see the benefit they can give you, maybe it is time for you to take that leap. Okay. And the second thing is that if hey guys, just a really quick interruption of the video just to say that BuyBot Pro is sponsoring this video, and down below there's a 14-day free trial to this amazing software which I've been using for years now. So BuyBot Pro is a deal analyzer for arbitrage sellers and private label type sellers, where it just gives you all the profit, the accurate profit analysis, whether it's hazmat, whether you can sell it, whether you can't. There's like a keeper like graph in it as well, so you can look back at all the history and the data and analyze your deals correctly. Anyway, free trial links down below. Let's get back to the video. You're scared about the operations. If you're scared about running the business, how do you incorporate them into your business? You know, how do you give them the right spreadsheets and the database and stuff like that? And how are they going to learn? You know, how are they going to know what to do? Then that's just a question of, obviously there's some fundamental things that you've got to do, which I mentioned in one of my other videos recently, or a video that's going to be posted soon this month. Is, you know, you want to get a notepad and just write down every single task that you need to outsource to them, and then eventually over time, don't overwhelm yourself, 2 or 3 weeks, something like that, start putting that into spreadsheets and Microsoft Word documents, so that they can read something and work out exactly how to do it, and say create spreadsheets so that they or connect them to the spreadsheet you already use. Start doing little video tutorials for them and stuff like that, and just gradually incorporate them into the business. And that's something that you've just got to understand, that overwhelm's going to happen there. It's normal. It's part of the business when you're outsourcing it. I was very overwhelmed when I first took on a virtual assistant. It's going to be absolutely fine, and trust me, in a year from now, if you do take on a virtual assistant, you'll be absolutely fine, and you'll forget that you even got this overwhelmed. You know, you'll be absolutely fine. It's just normal. You have to have overwhelm in business when you're growing it. You know, so when you take on virtual assistants, it's going to feel alien to you, but over time it will start to get easier and easier and easier, and before you know it, just like me, you'll have a few team members and you'll be like, wow, how did I do that? You know, we've got all these sort of people working for us that are third party or virtual assistants right now. You know, some are in pools, some are directly for me, some aren't, and it's just, yeah, I never thought that I would actually get there. But as I say, it just gets easier over time when you just start letting go slowly but surely. So that's sort of a mindset play, that bit. So I hope that video's helped. I just wanted to do it. It is definitely worth it hiring a virtual assistant for your Amazon business if you're at the stage where you want to grow it, but it's got to be the right time for you. You can't let peer pressure or FOMO of other people wanting to grow it too fast get in the way. It's got to be the right time for you, but at the same time, you don't want to hold yourself back from doing it if you know for sure and the data says to you that, yeah, this will grow a lot if we get a virtual assistant. Hope that video's helped. I'll see you in the next video. My name's Hayden.